Now let's talk about the Surangama Sutra. We have finished this first truth. And what is that? You have to generate the non-arising and non-ceasing mind as the cause in your spiritual cultivation. That's the first meaning. The second meaning, if you truly wish to arouse the bodhicitta, you must generate bodhicitta, or the mind of enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings, and give rise to great courage on the bodhisattva path, or the path of great vehicle, which is to deliver sentient beings, to benefit sentient beings. You cannot just cultivate yourself, like what Nagarjuna Bodhisattva says. The first meaning is to generate the non-arising and non-ceasing mind to cultivate spiritually. And second is to give rise to bodhicitta and to give rise to great courage on the bodhisattva path. That's the path of great vehicle. You must benefit sentient beings. If there are no sentient beings, how can you be a bodhisattva? In order to become a bodhisattva, you must benefit sentient beings. The so-called sentient beings are not sentient beings. Because they are not sentient beings, they are sentient beings. You must benefit sentient beings in order for you to be a bodhisattva. You want to become a Buddha? That's because they are sentient beings. Above bodhisattva, that's the Buddha or buddhahood or tathagatahood. Without sentient beings, how can you become a Buddha? So sentient beings are very important in this point. You must benefit sentient beings in order to become a bodhisattva. You must benefit sentient beings in order to become a Buddha. Otherwise, you're just a sravaka, a pratyekabuddha. You must decisively announce all conditioned phenomena. All conditioned phenomena should all be eliminated, and carefully examine the root of afflictions. You need to carefully examine why you have afflictions. Where do they start? How do they start? And how to eliminate them, to untie the knots of the afflictions. In all your reincarnations since beginningless time, who creates the karma that propels existence, and who receives these karmic results or retributions? Ponder on it, contemplate carefully. Who is generating karma and who is receiving its karmic retribution? He asks you to contemplate on this. What is the root of afflictions? Why do you have afflictions? Who gives rise to the afflictions, and who experiences the afflictions? You need to think carefully about it. If you give rise to the path of the great vehicle, you must generate bodhicitta and deliver sentient beings. He said that you have to give rise to bodhicitta. You cannot just practice this lesser vehicle, because that you're only practicing yourself. So not only you're liberating yourself, you also liberate others, and that's called the greater vehicle. So who is it that's doing it? Who is it that's afflicted? What are you afflicted about? Who is experiencing the suffering of the afflictions? Once I asked, is there anyone without any afflictions at all? Nobody raised their hand. So that means everybody has afflictions, including Grandmaster. In marriage, that also creates afflictions. In careers, about money, about health, can't be free from afflictions completely. When I was in the hospital, I had many afflictions. I had to be injected insulin, the blood drawn, had to test the urine, many things. They came by every couple hours. It's non-stop, and they drew the blood many times, tested, and then transfusion of blood. I lacked blood, and they kept drawing blood. kept bleeding too. That was so afflicted. I was so afflicted, so bothersome. There were 4 holes here and there's a cut here. Oh my gosh. After they cut open once, they didn't do it well, so they cut it again. Oh my gosh, so many afflictions. And every day I look out the window and saw the light rail passing by. And I was thinking I should be on it. When can I stand up and walk? At that time, I had so many afflictions. Think about it. Now, after I got out of the hospital and you asked me to get on the light rail, no, I don't want to. Nobody was on it. Very few. Most people drive. Not many people get on the light rail. So, what's all about afflictions? Health is afflictions. If you're not healthy, you're being afflicted. When your legs are weak, you also have affliction. When you don't sleep well at night, you have affliction. Many people have problems with sleep. I know one time I knew a psychiatrist and he told me of the 3 people walking on the street, one of them would have a sleep problem, not just insomnia, but they had lots of dreams or strange dreams, all kinds of weird things. Some just could not fall asleep. Some had racing thoughts as soon as they lie down. They couldn't fall asleep at all. Most of them have afflictions. If you have illnesses or ailments on your body, you would have afflictions. If you don't sleep well at night, then in the daytime you don't have any energy. And then at night, when you see the bed, you would be afflicted. You cannot sleep. So sleep is also affliction. So some people sleep for a very short time. And in old age, sometimes people don't sleep well. So we call it the practice of pieces of sleep. You sleep for a period of time, then you get up, and then you sleep again, and then you get up, and then you sleep again at different time. And sometimes you sleep and became very anxious, looking for bathrooms everywhere, and all the toilets were filled and you couldn't find any. It turned out you had to urinate. So you woke up and then you went to the bathroom and then came back to sleep. So many strange dreams. Every time you're very anxious. Sometimes you just can't find anything to eat. Not in this room or that room or that room. You kept looking and kept looking. And finally you woke up. And still you couldn't find it. Afflictions everywhere. Even about sleep. Where did it come about? How did it come about? Where is it from? I never had any afflictions about old age before. I've talked about this. At 66, I returned to Taiwan. Golden Mother told me, you come back at 66. Why? Do I have to go back at 66? Sure enough, at 66, something happened and I had to return to Taiwan. I did. So from 66 to 76, I spent half a year in Taiwan and half a year in America. For 10 years, I helped Taiwan Lichang Temple to complete their development and building. Also, even building the 7th-floor building. I did all those in 10 years. Before the renovation completed, I returned here. Now it's just left there. Is it finished now? Not yet? Oh gosh, I cannot work so hard anymore because I discovered I'm also getting old. At that time I did it until I was 76. I worked really hard for 10 years. Before then, all the steel rods were rusty. Then they finished the whole development and in addition built a 7th-floor building. And now you ask me to work hard for your renovation, for the interior decoration. And this time, after I got sick, I discovered I'm old already. In the past, I could do anything. But when you're old, you can't do anything. So old age is also a kind of suffering. Your legs are weak. Many ailments will appear. And it's easy for you to fall sick when you're old. I was a very hardworking person. How could I have time to be sick? I cannot allow myself to be sick. I never miss any ceremonies, never. And after I was sick, only 2 weeks recovery, and I came back already to the Seattle Lechang temple. Only after a month, I got on the Dharma throne to conduct the grand ceremony. I work so hard like that. The doctor, Yi and Lian Yi, you just got out from the hospital for 1 month. Can you conduct the grand ceremony? And I said, sure. But actually, my legs were really weak and I had difficulty even got on and got off the car. Every time I got on the car or got off the car, the wound would be injured. I was afraid that I would injure the wound. The wound, only 1 month, and I already conducted the grand ceremony. At that time, it was painful. The wound was painful every time I got on and got off the car. But luckily, my youngest granddaughter, who's 3, she let me hold her hand to enter into the ceremonial hall and to show my support to get on the Dharma throne. She held my hand till to the center, right in front of the altar. And only when I was trying to hold the incense to pray, she went up to the altar, to the stage, and to show me that it's okay for me to get up there. She was only 3. I really worked very hard, but still I had afflictions because I was afraid. I did not dare to cough because it would affect the wound. In order to deliver sentient beings, you have to have great courage. And you should contemplate carefully, observe what is the root of your afflictions. Since beginningless time, who creates this karma? And who receives its results? Who did the karma? And who received the karma? If you give rise to the great courage on the bodhisattva path, you must renounce all conditioned phenomena. Everything with birth and death, everything that is arising and ceasing are called conditioned phenomena, and you need to renounce them. Everything that is non-arising and non-ceasing is unconditioned phenomena. If you can enter unconditioned phenomena, then you will not suffer afflictions. And even when there is suffering, there is not suffering. Once you enter unconditioned phenomena, so generate great courage to benefit sentient beings.